What's up, folks?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to mud season.
It is mud season. It's nonstop.
It has rained for not quite 40 days and 40 nights, but it seems like it.
I did see a good meme, and it showed Kid Rock, and it said, "I haven't seen the sun in 3 damn days."
I'm trying to think. It's probably been. I know it was overcast all day Sunday. I think it might have been more than 3 days for us.
It may have.
This is a Wednesday night, and
But that was the song.
Yeah,
I ain't seen the sun in 3 damn days.
3 damn days, yeah. I think we might have him beat.
We might have him beat. It has been it's been a sloppy, and it is sloppy. Like, it's been one of those just steady, slow, nasty rains where it just seeps into the ground. And
like I'm only kind of kidding when I say it has rained for 3 days.
Yeah,
like it's been a misty, just drizzly, all the way up to it. Well, heck, I was at the barn this morning doing barn chores. It was barely sprinkling when I walked down to the barn. And as soon as I got done cleaning horse stalls, I needed to walk down to the other barn to feed my steers.
Yeah.
It started just dumping. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Of course, I was running behind. I was like, I don't have time to sit here and wait it out. I got to get to work. But, yeah, so it has rained pretty hard at times. And I have no idea how much it's rained, but I think we're officially at that time of year where it is going to be, at least anywhere where you're feeding livestock or anything, you've got mud from now until spring.
Yeah. Well, that's what I deer hunted this morning and this afternoon, and it would quit raining and then it would start back raining. But it's been. I noticed, like, walking through the field. The field was it was like just walking through slop.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, this is no-till. Like, this field no-tilled quite a bit. And for several years now, and it's so wet.
The pasture's the same way. Yeah, you sink down almost to your ankles and just sloppy. But
it is.
Yeah, you can't help but think, like, man, I wish we could bottle some of this up and save it till like next June and July, or could rewind the clock and be like, yeah, nice if we could have caught a half inch about.
Oh man, yeah.
1st of July or so this past year.
Yeah, it would. Which that's actually kind of one of the things going to dive into. Oh, well, first, last week I was complaining about how goofy farmers are at auctions.
Oh yeah, it's people.
Yeah, well,
let the adrenaline get the best of them.
Yeah, and they did, because I verified it. So, I was talking about the GPS equipment. I said that they were paying. So they were paying like $8,000 for a Starfire 3000 Globe. And then they were paying about $8,000 for a 2630 monitor. And so you need both of those for it to do right. So you got right there, this is 2 pieces of used equipment. You got $8,000 or $16,000 tied up in it. And that's a 3000. So I texted my dude at Tennessee Tractor, because I wanted to change. My sprayer had the old 2600 monitor in it, and it was like to the point where it was working fine, but I went in there the other day and was pushing and like wouldn't respond. You could make it work with the buttons on the back, but it's supposed to be touchscreen. And I only have one globe. So I was having to take the globe off of my tractor sprayer and I'd have to swap it from all 3. And so I guess I'm like, now I was like, I got, a little cash in the pocket. I'll go ahead and get a globe. So I told Michael, I said, man, I want a globe and a monitor. I said, what can you get me that for? And he goes, you want a 6,000? And he said, I can get you a brand new Starfire 6,000. That's the newest globe, like this bad to the bone globe. They were buying a 3,000. Like, I want to stress these so everybody listening can understand the prices here.
They were not only buying used, they were buying a much older model.
The older model.
Yeah. And
he was like, I got a 6,000. He said, I can have it. I mean, I said, get me the 6,000. And I said, a used 2630 monitor is fine if you got it. And he said, I can hook you up. And he said, all right, I'll get it. That was on Thursday. Monday, he called and said, your stuff is in. And so I said,
So
all right.
not only like they can get it to you too.
They can get it.
That's a key in this day and age.
Yep, that was a big thing. I was like, wonder how long, he said. And then, he texted me Monday and he said, your stuff is in. And I said, all right, what do I owe you? And it ended up being $10,800. Total for a brand new 6,000 and a used 2630 monitor. And them dumb shits were paying $16,000 to $18,000 together for this stuff.
That don't even seem like I don't even.
For a 3,000 globe, I got a 6,000. That globe will become obsolete within the next several years.
So now I'm thinking they're like laundering money or something through those auctions. Like it makes no sense to overpay that much.
Yeah, well, that's what I told, and I told Michael. We were sitting in his office when he told me. He said 10,800, and I was like, for both? One? And I said for both. Like at first I was like, that must be the 6,000 by itself, and he said that's all together, man. And I was like, wow. And so we're in his office and I'm signing. I said, dude, Michael, I got to be honest with you, man. I said, rarely am I surprised by a John Deere price.
I was about to say, no, I'm always surprised by a John Deere
price. Oh yeah. The pain of it. Yeah.
I usually figure what I think it should be worth and then add at least 50% to it. And then that's what it ends up being.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's what he said. I said, dude, I was just watching an auction. I said, this is substantially cheaper. And he goes, yeah, because they're idiots. And I was like, dude, they must be. And he was like, it's crazy. He said, I've watched these guys in these auctions. He said, they are paying. He said, they're way overpaying for this stuff.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. You'll see stuff. You'll be like, damn, like I think you can buy a new one for little to nothing more than what people pay for used equipment sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's why you love auctions. It's the adrenaline.
Oh yeah, you're not rational in the moment.
Well, and then it kind of gets into be a pissing contest sometimes too. Like, oh, I ain't gonna let that some bitch outbid me, or whatever, and that's why anytime you're selling something, you love to sell it at an auction. You get people there.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was. So is there one coming up this weekend that you were watching?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Saturday.
That's right. You said you were looking at some of the smaller.
I want a smaller tractor and I need a bush hog.
Well, there's a few bush hogs at the other one that I was looking at for this weekend, which I'm not gonna be able to go.
Where is it?
Whiteville.
Okay.
Which I checked their website today just to see if they'd updated it, and they said the lot is full. They can't take any more consignments.
Huh.
Like daggum. And I looked at what they already had listed, and
is it going to be online as well?
Yeah, it'll be online as well. So you'll have those assholes potentially like me.
Running I was going to say I might be at one auction and I'm bidding at another auction.
Yeah, and I hadn't even looked at what the weather's going to be for this weekend.
It's supposed to be raining, I'm pretty sure, which is good for me.
Yeah.
Bad for the auctioneer, but it's good for the guy going.
Yeah, well.
Maybe. Let's see.
Except all those guys will be sitting at home.
On the computer.
With a cup of coffee, feet kicked up at the computer and bidding.
Yeah. Saturday it's a 90% chance of rain, half inch.
Which heck, me and you ran into each other at the basketball gym.
Yeah.
This weekend, and that's where I'll be again this Saturday.
Oh, should they play again this week? Willis?
I think we play every Saturday. I don't know.
See, we got a bye week this week.
Oh, dang. Well.
It's worked out because, I need to be at that auction.
Yeah. But both my kids play Saturday morning, so that's where I'll be.
Well, I got you. Well.
But I'll be watching. I don't need to buy anything, but it's kind of one of those, like, man, I'm not going to let them give it away.
Well, that's kind of, I've got a couple things I could use. But yeah, I'm kind of the same way. See, and this is a lesson I learned. I'll pass this on. My shortcomings, people can take this one away with them. There was a tax sale on some land.
Yeah.
This was about 4 years ago.
Basically, for people that don't know, like people quit paying their property taxes. Eventually, like you have to really. It takes years.
It does.
But eventually, the government, I guess the county or whoever takes it back.
Yeah.
And then auctions it off on the courthouse steps, basically, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah. And so a farm that I work that has, it's some family land. next to it, there was 8 acres that joined it. And it was like, I mean, you can't do anything. It was grown up, and it had a little crappy trailer on it. But I was like, I'm farming the ground that joins it. So I said, well, I could clear it.
Like a trailer house.
Yeah.
Anybody living in there actively?
I don't think so.
It's just abandoned.
Yeah, and it was raggedy as crap. But
need to be bulldozed off into a gully. Yeah.
So again, like I said, 7 or 8 acres, and I was like, I called. Well, I told my wife, I was like, we need to go, because if this thing goes really cheap, we'll buy it.
Because sometimes it does. Like,
sometimes you are shocked.
Like nobody wants this. I mean,
yeah. And I even called some of the family, and I was like, hey, this farm's coming up. This land's going to be for sale. It joins right here. We probably need to try to buy this. I was like, why don't you try to buy it? Because, it wouldn't really benefit me to buy it. I mean, I'd farm it. I'd have to clear it and farm it.
Yeah, to have just a random 8 acres somewhere to farm, it's not really
But
valuable.
like them, I was like, this would make sense for you to buy this. And
obviously, because it joins them.
Yeah. So I was like, why don't you go? I said, I want to go to the sale. I'll go with you. And I was like, why don't you try to buy this? I was like, I think it'd be a good idea. And everybody was like, oh, no, yeah, One of them was like, if you want to buy it, man, you have at it. And I was like, if it goes super cheap, we need to buy it. And I told Marcy, I was like, if it goes dirt cheap, I was like, if it goes cheap enough, I will buy it. I'm like, but I said, we need to go. Nah, she didn't want to do it. She was like, nah, we're not doing it. It ain't going to go that cheap. And so I was like, all of them finally convinced me. So I was just like, whatever. So I didn't go. Well, I talked to a guy that went, and I said, hey, what'd that 8 acres sell for? And he goes, $1,500. And I said, a piece? And he goes, no, total. He said, whole thing sold for $1,500. And I said, you got to be shitting me. And that's what I told every one of them. I was like, why did we not? This is what I was talking about.
Less than $200 an acre.
Yes. I mean, this was 4 years ago, 4 years ago. That is still insanely cheap. I would buy any land for $200. Like that price, I would buy anything.
Yeah, I mean,
there's some farm for sale on the bluff out here going to the river. It's 300 and something acres. Have you seen it?
I may have seen it listed online.
Well, it's like 370 acres, and I think about 20 of it is farmed.
The rest of
it is the bluff, and you can't do anything with it.
Yeah,
you got a really cool view of the river, but the price is just price just constantly coming down. And I told somebody the other day, I was like, if they ever come down to like $100 an acre, I'd buy it. Like, heck, I mean, for that price, I'd buy it.
Yeah, the bluff ground, I mean, it's literally just holding the world together.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even hunt this ground. Like, if you tripped, you'd like plummet to your death. So, like, it's not good for anything. But, I mean, I'd buy it if it gets cheap enough, I'll buy any land. But, I was like, I cannot. And so then to make matters worse, they bought it for $1,500. They turned around and sold it for $60,000 to like these people to clear it. I think it was $60,000. These people cleared it, and now they were going to build like lots on it, like several lots. But they literally, to make matters worse, they not only bought it dirt cheap, but then they made like $50,000 on it. So
which those sales, have you ever bought anything in one of those?
Mm-mm.
They're kind of tricky because I know
you got to wait a year.
Yeah, because they still they give the original owners like every opportunity in the world to come and pay off the tax debt on it.
Yeah, they're like, before we steal this ground from you, we're going to give you a chance to come back.
Because I know kind of a family friend, he buys like a lot of it's lower end, very low end, like residential property. He said it's a pain in the butt. Like, I wouldn't even want to deal with the headache, because once it becomes officially his after that year, it's always a process getting whoever the parent is out. And that's, of course, it's always just trashed.
Oh yeah. It's not, it ain't as easy as just going in and being like, this is mine, get out.
Yeah. Well, and then he ends up spending a bunch of money fixing it up, and then he rents them back out. And over the years, he's built up a pretty good bit of rental property by just going to these tax sales and buying stuff for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
If you're willing to deal with the headache and everything that goes along with it. But
well, that was one of those where I was like, gotta be kidding me. And I've had that happen on equipment. That's why I'm gonna go to this auction Saturday, because this is a Tennessee tractor auction. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, they did a similar one, and I didn't go, and apparently nobody else did either. And they sold and it's an absolute sale, because this is a major like John Deere dealer. So at this point, they're like, we got to get this stuff gone. And they sold like a 680 combine for like $80,000. Like,
well, man, but that's the way those sales go. Like because you're going,
it'll be, yep.
I told the story about going to that heifer sale where I could not ever buy any heifers. And finally we're like, all right, we're going to sell some heifers here. Like, you don't ever want to be buying them. And heck, now that I think back about it, I should have bought a bunch of other heifers while I was there that time, because they were giving them away. Like, the market had just crashed. Nobody was there. Like, it's just like, man, this is what you dream about, coming to a sale to buy something at. And here I am, I'm trying to sell something. Like this would figure. Like, just the way it goes. But
it was crazy, man. Like the last thing I'll harp on that auction too, they had a 20, because I've been wanting, I've been kicking around getting rid of my service truck. I want a heavier one. Well, I wasn't going to bid on it because it was a 1-ton, but they had a Ram, a 2012 Ram with 80-something thousand miles on it.
So I got the 6.7.
Yeah. Tradesman model, so like base model. And last I saw, it was going for like $46,000. And it was a 2012 model. Like, to compare that, like my 2012 GMC Sierra 3500 flatbed, same bed. Now it has 140,000 miles on it, but it only blue books for like 20-something, 20,000, 22, 23,000.
Yeah. So
it was just crazy, man. People were acting dumb.
Used trucks, which I know everything costs so much more nowadays. But the last truck I bought new, which was about 8 years ago, 13 or 14, I can't even remember. F-250 diesel, and it XLT.
Yeah.
So not the Lariat or anything. I paid like in the low to mid 50s for it.
Oh yeah, now
0 miles. Brand new.
Yeah. Now you're talking $70,000-$80,000.
Oh yeah, that truck's worth. Yeah, I couldn't get that same price I paid for it.
You could still get mid 30s.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, that's what I thought. Like, even mine, I almost sold my pickup because it.
Well, I've thought about that, but then you got to buy another one, and so then you're screwed there. So yeah, it does you no good unless you just don't need a truck anymore.
Yeah, that's what got me, because I put mine up for sale, and I had several people inquire, and I had a guy that was going to come look at it, and he was like very seriously wanting it. And I was calling, and I was talking to some dealers about other trucks, and I was going to buy a used Duramax, but like a 2021 model, and selling my truck, buying the used Duramax. I was still going to end up paying $40,000.
Yeah.
And I was just like, good gosh almighty.
Basically, just a newer version of what you've got.
Yeah.
So can't do anything more than what your current truck does.
No, it had an ass massager in it. Mine don't have that.
Right.
But no.
Get the heated seats, heated steering wheel.
Yeah, see, mine does not have the heated seats or stuff like that. But the one I was looking at did.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, like my wife's ride has that, but yeah, the farm truck certainly does not.
No. Yeah. Marcy's car has heated seats, but the truck I was looking at, it was like, it probably did massage your ass. Like, it was a Denali Duramax, and
you don't want that for a farm truck anyway.
I don't ever use. I guess what the work truck's for. I don't ever do any work in that truck. The dirtiest that truck gets is like when I kill a deer.
Yeah. Well, I just for my truck, I'm like, heck, I need to buy one that already has 100,000 miles on it. It's already beat up, because I'm gonna beat it.
Well, your dogs ransack yours in there.
Well, my dog, I carry a dog or two with me everywhere I go, and Yeah, bounce it around across the pasture. That's why I like having the Jeep. But yeah, well, we'll see. We'll have an auction report for y'all next week.
We will. I'll let you know if farmers continue the trend of idiocy into next week. But there was what else was there about? Oh yeah. So there was two things that I was going to get in, and you said you had a listener.
Right. Well, I had a listener question that actually had come through a while ago, but I'd written it down, and I was like, we need to get to that one. It won't be a long discussion. But
well, I do want to add, we had a couple people comment on the YouTube video. We appreciate that, man. Y'all reached out. We had, let's see, I'll give you guys a shout out real quick, because hey, man, that's what we say, reach out to us. We love to hear from you guys. And on the last video, we had Jeremy Price give you a shout out, man. He said you're a startup Longhorn farmer in Alabama. That's pretty cool. He said, just found you guys. Glad to have a podcast similar to my beliefs. Keep up the good work. Man, that's what we like to hear. I'll give you the heart right here on air. And then another Zach Brugman. He said, as a beginning farmer, can't get enough of the podcast. Keep up the good work. That's just, see, man, we like that. We appreciate you guys giving us that shout out, man. That spurs us on. So if you're listening right now, watching, hit that like, hit subscribe, and leave us a comment. Let me know what you think. We want to hear from you guys. We still need to hear if y'all want the farm or die shirts. Like did you have anybody say anything?
I did not have anybody reach out to me.
I didn't either. We need to hear about it. If y'all will rep the farm or die shirts, we'll get those things rocking. But going into what I had, the two topics, one of them is actually, it's into the political realm, and this was kind of the current news, and it was about the farm bill for 2023. And it's one of my frustrations because, we've talked about how each of us, we kind of have our thing, our axe to grind. And one of the things that hurts us right now is subsidies. It kind of props up the big guys.
Right.
It benefits the big guy more so than the small guy. Well, look, I think anybody that's listened to this show has probably figured out Bobby Lee and I both are very staunch conservatives, but the Republicans they're the spearhead behind this. They want to increase the subsidies for farmers for 2023. They said that it's too much risk in farming, so they want to increase the safety net essentially and the payments to farmers. And I don't want it to happen. Like I don't want it to happen. Like I didn't get any, there were no payments this year except to rice. I think rice farmers got a payment or something to my understanding. But like I don't want to see more subsidies. Like honestly, I would like to see no subsidies.
Right. Well, and I think in the short term it could be painful, because even the small guys stand to benefit some.
Yeah.
But in the long term, right, it'll quit propping up, maybe outfits that shouldn't be operating, or at least maybe the way they are. And, it just, I don't want it to get to the point where we're not growing crops. We just say, well, it's not profitable to grow anything in this country, and we'll import everything and whatever. No, that's not good, because we don't want to be reliant on foreign, imports to feed and clothe us and whatever.
Yeah.
But if, you let kind of some things settle out and figure out, well, hey, these prices aren't right. And you just let the market correct itself.
Yeah.
I feel like a true free market is, in many ways, or can be a perfect system, which it's hard to say that because we've never really had a true free market. There's all kinds of other external, factors affecting everything.
I look at it through the capitalist lens, let's remove the government out of the mix.
Oh yeah.
It'll be painful. You would have guys go broke, but the guys that would go broke weren't good businessmen to start with. That's right. Y'all's vet clinic, the government isn't going to come in and bail you out in like the crisis, like, they're not going to prop you up with subsidies. And I get it, like, because I've heard people say, that, our ag it's as valuable about as our defense, or it falls into that defense sector.
We've got to be able to feed and clothe ourselves. Yes.
Yeah. But like, I think one of the things that I think getting rid of subsidies would do is I feel like it would trim the fat. And I realize we don't have a lot of fat. It's already a slim percent. But by doing that, it'll actually create the opportunity for new people to get in. And then you'll have people get in. And if you start in a lean moment, like a lean year, you're gonna be actually ahead of the game, because you're gonna be having to survive in those lean moments right out the gate.
Well, and a lot of the subsidies, don't end up directly in the pocket ultimately of the producer. With subsidies, everything else costs more. Equipment costs more, ground rents for more. Your landowners, your equipment dealers, your retailers, selling all your inputs, they're able to mark up more because they're getting the market is everything's inflated because the government's pumping in all this artificial money.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how much that really ends up benefiting the farmer in the long run, because it's like, oh, we got all these subsidies. Well, I can pay more rent.
Yeah.
So then that benefits the landowner, which, hey, I don't hate that for a landowner, but
see, it'll take away. Getting rid of the subsidies will take away a lot of that benefit of being a giant farmer.
Right.
Like it would kind of bring a lot of people back to, all right, what is a good size that I can manage well and make good crop? Like, because in a year where there are payments, typically, a lot of times they'll do them per acre. So in that instance, if you're getting paid per acre from the government, and you can either, would you rather get paid for 500 acres or 5,000 acres? Well, yeah, you're going to want to get that payment of 5,000.
Yeah.
And so,
but you don't need to be farming the government.
You don't need to be farming. And seeing that was one of the funny things. Like, I'll never forget. It was back during, Trump was in, and, we were in the peak of the trade war, and prices were terrible. And we had finished up harvest. We were getting ready to go into the next season. And I was talking to a guy that farms, and he asked me, he said, man, and it was funny because the guy had just bought 2 combines. He had bought I can't even remember offhand what kind they are, which also I don't want to reveal a lot of information because I like the guy. But he had bought 2 combines. So shelled out some big cheese, driving probably an $85,000 pickup truck. I mean, he wasn't shaving corners anywhere. And he said, man, you think we're going to get a payment this coming year? And I said, I don't know. I don't think so. I said, the way things are looking, I was like, I don't think they're planning on doing a payment. And he goes, man, you don't think they're going to give us a payment? And I said, I don't think so. And he said, man, I can't make it without a payment. I got to have that payment. He said, I'm figuring on getting at least about $150,000. Like, I got to have that payment or we ain't going to make it. And I'll just never forget that. Like, because I was just thinking to myself, and no, actually,
that's a terrible.
Why it was actually funnier to me was he was in the process of buying the second combine. He had not even purchased it yet. He had found it, and they were going through the steps of buying it. And that's when I was thinking to myself, I'm like, if you can't make it, like, you got to have the government subsidy to survive. What are you doing buying another combine? Like,
well, it's just like where they falsely inflated things, which this may not be a perfect analogy, but have you ever seen the movie The Big Short?
Is The Rock in that?
No. I guess Christian Bale.
No,
there's a bunch of big names. Brad Pitt's kind of like a secondary role. Is it Steve Carell?
Oh, is he in that?
Yeah.
From The Office?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to watch this.
He's one of it, but it's talking about the housing market crisis, when it was that, like 12, 15 years ago, whenever. And how everything came crashing, but everything was so propped up by all these like subprime mortgages. And it was all like it was a bubble. And it was basically, the movie focused on basically these three different groups of dudes who everybody thought was crazy, who shorted the housing market.
Yeah.
And, of course they ended up making out like bandits. Like I don't know if they all became like billionaires, but like basically, everybody thought they were just stupid. They're like, you can't, like the housing market's never failed. Like mortgages, like this, it's like the safest investment ever. But they had like a kind of a moment. It sounds like you might have had whenever you're like, wait a second, you say you're on the verge of going broke, but you're buying a second combine.
Yeah.
They're in Miami and they're doing something, but there's a stripper. I don't even think there was any nudity in the movie. Like, it's not a super raunchy movie, but she talks about how she owns like 2 or 3 houses, and they're like, what? And that's whenever one group of them's like, all right, yeah, this is real. Like, this really is a bubble. It's going to burst. And she's like, oh yeah, and they were, she explained how they were working the system, and yeah, I don't know, it just kind of,
well, that's
made me think of that.
It is. Well, it is, like I said, I mean, you should never, even when Trump was in there and they were talking about doing those MFP payment things, I never factored in a payment on my budget.
And that's one issue. I don't know. I struggle with that too. Like, I want the government out of everything as much as possible. And then, but at the same time, I think that Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act, which again, I'm talking about different things, it's not a subsidy, but that's more government oversight and regulation of an industry. So yeah, it's in a way, and I don't know that you could just totally jerk the rug out and say like, no more subsidies ever.
Yeah.
But if you could somehow come up with an actual like 10-year plan to say, over the next 10 years, we're totally phasing them out, which of course that never works because we have elections.
Yeah.
And a new administration comes in and they're
like, we'll get rid of that.
Like they campaign on, which they ain't going to get enough votes campaigning on paying the farmers. We're only 2% of the population. But,
well, that was one of the things they were talking about in the article I was reading. The Republicans that are pushing this bill, or pushing to increase it, they said that I think they had done every time this comes up, they're like, it needs to be increased. But they were like, it never gets enough votes because their farmers don't have
there's not enough lobbying power there.
No. And so, a part of me thinks that some of them probably do it because, farmers are like 92% Republican or something. I mean, we are just staunchly conservative. So there's a part of me that's like, they're doing this just to like pat us on the back, be like, hey man, we're trying, man. We're in your corner.
But I don't even know why they care, because at the same time, we're such a small percentage of the overall, constituency. And two, it's not like, I don't know. I guess some farmer, those 92% ain't going to vote Biden in 24. It would take a lot for them to say, all right.
Yeah. It's not like they got to like buy or support.
Yeah. It's not like a lot of farmers are sitting on the fence. Like,
we saw it with, Trump, with the trade war,
And it was very, very hard on farmers, which of course he was trying to soften it by increasing payments and things like that.
But like even then, it was still, man, prices were bad.
Yeah.
It was pretty lean. Like even getting the payments, especially like I said, for smaller farmers, it was really lean.
Most guys I knew saw the big picture though. They like understood. They're like,
yep.
Where
something needs to change.
Right. It's long or short-term pain, long-term gain kind of thing.
Well, seeing that, actually, I hadn't thought about bringing this up in this episode, but that's one of the weird places we're kind of moving to in the country right now is what is the future going to look like on the grain prices? Because, China is they're having a shitstorm going on over there right now.
Yeah.
And the like American part of me is like, yeah, give them hell, like protest, tear the damn government down and chunk the dude out the window of his castle. But like on the bad side of that, all right, if they like really just wreck this country and China comes crumbling down, That's the number one importer of our grains.
Well, and even
and all the products that are made in China.
Well, like the short term, like markets just hate turmoil. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like any sort of turmoil, market's going to react negatively, even if it's only for the short term.
Yeah.
But
imagine if China somehow like collapsed. The amount of goods they produce and the amount of things they import.
I mean, I'm not certainly a global economist or anything, but it would be a major disruption to the overall, just the flow of goods. And I'm sure, the global economy, you would feel like would really suffer for, I don't know, maybe several years while the dust settled.
People would have to go back and listen to all our episodes so they could know where to go buy their products, because there'd be,
That's right.
They'd be like, well, we can only buy American made now.
Yeah. I'm wearing an American made jacket right here. I don't know. I better not look at the rest of my clothes.
Well, yeah, I wore some. Now this shirt is actually made in America. Now these are Wrangler jeans. They used to be made in America, but then they had quit.
It's funny you say that. I've got a bunch of old Wrangler, like the original, that came with got the patch, which I guess even the new ones have the patch on the pocket. But
yeah,
I remember used to going like the feed store and they'd have them. It was a little cardboard, label or whatever that was around the Wrangler patch. Had the guy. There was a calf that he had roped.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what model they are, but I was looking at the tags because I'm weird like that. Made in USA. I was like,
oh, the ones you got?
Yeah.
Nice.
These are old jeans. And a bunch of them are some of my dad's old jeans. Closet air shrunk them on him. He couldn't wear them no more. And which at one point in time they were too big for me, and now I'm still growing.
Yeah, the closet airs made them expand a little more.
Yeah, I've slowly grown into that waist size, but I was like, damn, I was like, that wasn't that long ago. Like these jeans are probably, they might be from like the 90s, and like, damn, like that was not that long ago. That was like a very, like, I don't know that. Was
it 94?
The Wrangler cowboy coat was like super mainstream.
Yeah.
That was a big time brand.
Oh yeah.
And like that was, and like now, if you find something made in America, it's like a boutique type brand.
Yeah.
It's like a.
Well, Wrangler ran their special edition made in America of jeans like a couple years ago. And, they made them with the cotton from the area.
Well, I remember, cause I think we talked about that.
We did. Because they had a Tennessee line.
I never could find, and I knew that it was made, like they traced the cotton back to those states. I never could confirm that they were actually sewn and everything in the U.S.
Oh, I think they were supposed to be per online, but
because I tried to find something like I'll buy them. I
think eBay is
pay
probably
too much for them. Just to have a pair.
Oh, I would have loved to have had some with the Tennessee thing in there, but these are the retro they've gone back to. But and I'm like, so I want to get American made, but on the pants, I'm more at this point. Until everything is until I can get pretty much everything I want all American made, I'm kind of like, what is the values? I look at that a lot.
Well, not made in China is number one, like anywhere but China. And then if I can find it made somewhere in like Central or even South America. Yeah. Because you see a lot of clothes that are.
Taiwan is not bad.
Yeah. Well, Vietnam, any of those, anywhere but China is number one. And then if I can get it made, in the Western Hemisphere, in North or South America, and then obviously if I can get it made in the U.S., that's cherry on top.
Well, that's where the jeans and stuff. I used to wear Levi's, 569, I think was my number. And, man, I love them jeans. And then I found out that they were donating a tremendous load of money to gun control. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I'm giving my money to this. Oh, and I'd have people that would they'd laugh, they'd joke about it because I'd be like, yeah, I don't wear Levi's anymore. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because they're giving money to gun control. And they're like, well, man, everything you buy goes to something. And I'm like, well, I don't have to. And so, the Wrangler jeans, Cinch, and Ariat, that's three brands that are pretty solid.
Yeah.
When it comes to their values, now I don't think any of those are made in the USA.
I don't think so.
The LC King, I ordered a pair of them, and I like them, But now they were the, like, their sizes must run a little bit different than what I normally order, because I had to send them back in, get a different size on the waist. Well, then I got the other pair in. Well, then they were a little long. And at that point, I was like, I'm not sending the damn things back a second time. And so I like just have to roll the bottom up. And so now I don't even wear them that much because I'm just annoyed by that.
See, I don't have any of their jeans. I've got they may call them their jeans, but they're like the work pants, like the I don't know what they call that material.
Yeah.
But like the brown duck work pants. And then I've got a couple of pairs, which mine fit pretty true. And I don't know.
Well, I'm like, I wear one size in Ariat, I wear one size in Wrangler, and I wear one size in LC King. Like,
it's all different.
It's all different.
Yeah, that is annoying.
It is annoying. Like, I can't get, like, I'll order what I should be wearing, and then I'm like an odd size. Like, I need like a in LC, or no, I ordered a Victos pair to try, and I need a 35 in the waist. And that's about where I am. Yeah. Cause I wear some 36s, some 34s. Yeah. My 36s, I'll have to have the belt cinched up so much, but if I get a 34, it's like, like, so.
I've got plenty that are like that. So the closet air has shrunk them.
It has. That's what's done it to me. But yeah, the other thing, well, I guess to finish up on the farm bill, we'll just see what happens. But I am pretty much publicly stating I'm not for subsidies. I don't want it. And a lot of people would say, well, crop insurance, because they pay like 80% of the crop insurance. They do. But here's the deal. If you remove the subsidies on crop insurance cost would be forced to come down because people would just stop buying it. And so they'd be like, well, shit, instead of charging this, we're going to have to come down.
The market would figure it out.
Tell you something, one time I rear-ended, I was backing out of the gym one time, and I hit a lady, and so it didn't hardly hurt her car at all, but it had creased it, and it dented or like scratched her rim. And I told her, I said, I'll just pay for this. This was probably 8 years ago. I said, I'll just pay for it out of pocket. I said, that can't be that expensive. And so she took it to a body shop, and they were like, it ended up being just stupid, like how expensive it was. But they said, are you paying for it, or is insurance paying for it? And I said, well, I'm going to pay for it if it's not too bad. They told me the amount, and it was too much. But then, so I said, well, insurance is going to cover it. So the insurance, it was a difference in the price, which is bullshit, because
now if you tell them you'll just pay out of pocket, it's a lot cheaper than if they turn it on insurance.
And that's horse shit, because I'm like, this is why I'm paying so damn much for insurance. It's like, because it was like hell, it might have been $1,000 higher. Like it was and I'm like, that's why I'm paying so damn much for my insurance.
Yeah.
Because of that crap. So, look, I got to.
Shit, it's the same way like with health stuff. Like, you ever notice like on the hospital bill, because of course insurance paying for it anyway, they charge you they nickel and dime the shit out of you. Like, you get a cup of ice chips to your room. Like whatever.
$5 or something. Yeah.
It's insane. And like that's just stupid. And of course the insurance companies negotiate it down, before they actually pay. I'm just like, my God, because of course veterinary side, like, we don't charge for anything like that. Like we charge for like.
Is there animal insurance?
There is. There's not. It's super uncommon. Yeah. And most people, like, we don't even really know they've got the insurance because, like, we don't deal with it. They basically pay us, and then they send their bills into the insurance company.
That actually ought to be how it ought to be. But because then
but I'll tell you, because what would happen, like if we knew, because like we're notoriously bad. We don't charge for everything we do. Yeah. And we should. Like a lot of the business people come and talk to you, like, why don't you charge for that? Like, well, we no charge that. We're like, you did it, didn't you? Why don't you charge them for it? And we're like, right, you got a point,
Yeah.
But we don't want to. It's kind of like we don't want to nickel and dime people to death, If
Yeah.
I'm doing a $500 surgery, I'm not going to charge them for every little nitpicky little thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, if you go to the hospital and get that done, they do every possible thing they can do, and so I don't know, you can see both sides. Like if I knew somebody was turning on insurance, I'd probably be tempted to, like, okay, well, yeah. Well, we're not going to no charge anything if their insurance is paying for it anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well,
I can see where that gets out of control.
And it has, and that's.
But they wouldn't cut you a good deal since you were paying for it out of pocket.
Well, I mean, they knocked some off, but it was still too high.
It was still too much.
Like they knocked a good bit off.
But I've always, like if I have like just a little bitty fender bender or something, if you go into the body shop and say, I just want to pay y'all cash for it, like, oh yeah, like it ends up being usually a fraction.
And seeing that, but it just ain't right. That's just not honest. That's the way I look at it. I'm like, well, that ain't honest. Like you're doing the same thing. Dad just recently, like he was talking about, like on his truck, like they replaced the rear tail light on his truck, and it was fine. He's like, they put a brand new rear tail light. It was like $700 in his truck, and he's like, the one that was in it was fine. Didn't even hurt it. So I don't know that, and that's what I say. And I mean, like, and I don't mean that attacking crop insurance. I love my crop insurance guy, and I'm using some crop insurance this year. I had lost some beans. So like, I think there's a good place for it, but that's what would happen. If the subsidies were gone, prices would have to come down because people just wouldn't be buying it. And and that's why I say, like, ultimately, capitalism would be what would kick in if the subsidies were gone, and it would force farmers. There are some big guys that have big operations at this point that don't really know a lot about their books because they just don't have to, because they work so much ground. They're spread, like, they don't really have to tightly, like, closely monitor their expenses. And that's what would happen if the subsidies were gone, these kind of safety nets were gone. It would force guys to have to be like, okay, what can I actually spend? What can I not spend? And it would tighten everything up.
Yeah.
So you got the question there.
So Terry Middleton, which I'll have to apologize to Terry because he messaged me on September 16th. So
yeah, we're a little behind on that one.
Not quite 3 months later. But he messaged me and said, I'll kind of paraphrase, said he'd been watching my YouTube channel, and then he found us, because I tell him on there, listen, talk dirt to me.
Yeah.
And he's been listening to this, and he picked up on me talking about feeding out my feeder steers on corn. And so he asked, could you possibly talk more about that? The fact that we finished them on only corn, which I guess that's not 100% accurate. When we get to the finishing stages,
they're still eating hay, aren't they?
No, the plan I have, that they only eat hay for about the first 2 weeks or so.
Gotcha.
And usually we're feeding them, and the exact plan, which I can email to anybody, I've said it before, maybe even here, and I know on my YouTube, it's a PDF file. I found it online. You cannot find it online anymore. Like, you can search the exact title of it. It's just like it doesn't exist on the internet anymore. Probably somewhere. But anyway, it's a PDF. I've got it saved. I can email it to anybody. But it's actually from University of Tennessee Extension Service, and it's targeted at folks exactly like me, feeding out a small number of beef, for the freezer. And it allows you to use whole shelled corn, which is where a lot of people are like, you can't do that. Cattle can't just eat just straight whole shelled corn. You got to you just got to be cracked or rolled or something. But no, they can. I think when you look at it up, like most nutritionists or whatever will tell you that cracked corn or rolled corn is going to be like 10 to 15% more digestible than whole shelled corn. But that little difference, when you're only feeding out a few head like I am, the added cost in doing that extra processing doesn't pencil out when you're only doing a small amount. Obviously, if you're feeding out, tens of thousands of cattle a year, or even probably tens, it's probably worth the extra money. But
I just said it's like, so if you visit Hurricane Creek Farms, don't be alarmed by the projectile diarrhea of the cows.
yeah, you don't want to get behind our steers. But and so when I say we don't feed them, so the bulk of their diet is corn, and I'll actually pull up the article here.
Well, I say that, not trying to mess you up, but I say that like, because when I would be sometimes feeding some of the cows like straight feed, I could tell if I was throwing too much to them, because man, they would shit through a screen door. You know, like they would have the scours like crazy.
Well, and the rule with this ration, you want to feed them, because once you get them up to really full feed, you want them eating as much as they want to.
Yeah.
But you want them to clean it up. Like, you don't want there to be feed left over when you come back. And a lot of folks say you want them to eat it all within, like, pretty quickly. And then, they don't have anything to eat until you come back and feed them, later on that same day. And I feed them twice a day. But just for instance, the kind of finishing ration, once you get them up to full feed, you feed them about 2% of their body weight in corn. So let's make math easy on ourselves. So say they're 1,000 pounds. They're eating 20 pounds of corn a day.
Yeah.
Total per head. And
well, that's pretty good. I'm about on par then, because I'm not feeding straight corn. I'm feeding that beef builder, but I'm giving them, I'm actually probably giving them close to 40 pounds a day, but it's 2 of them.
Yeah.
So that's coming out about right.
Well, and then the big thing here, you're feeding them a protein supplement, 1.5 pounds per head per day.
Yeah.
And so, which I kind of do 2 different protein supplements to get to that full 1.5 pounds. I do feed a pelleted, I think it's like 42%, 41% protein.
Dang, it's high protein.
Yeah, right. And you can't feed that feed straight. Like, it comes in a special bag. It's like concentrate, you have to mix it. So
have you tried it
with that corn? Now, and that's the other thing, you have to be careful with it, because it has rumensin in it. So I have to be careful about because we do have horses on our farm, and I have steers are fed in a completely different barn. I've got it behind like 2 different gates where the horses, I don't want to say they can't get to it, because as sure as I say that, like,
they will, yeah.
I'll be on here next week talking about how I had dead horses. But anyway, yeah, you gotta be careful with that, just because it's toxic to equines. But we feed that pelleted feed, and then some just soybean meal.
Gotcha. So break down for somebody like him listening here, what is it, like, I know you just ran through it, but like, give one just whole breakdown of one day, what you're giving exactly.
So like right now, like today, because I'm still feeding them, because I just got all my corn, I guess, a week ago today.
Yeah.
So they're still eating a little bit of what they call starter feed, which is just the mixed ration that I get delivered in bulk. They're eating probably, I'm trying to think, because
let's say per cow.
Yeah.
Let's break it down per cow.
Okay, so, oh gosh.
I'm going to put you on the math spot, but
yeah.
But like, in case somebody is listening that has, just one cow they're going to feed out.
So mine right now are getting probably somewhere between 5 and 7 pounds of my starter feed.
Yeah.
And that number's going down every day pretty much. And then probably between, I don't know, probably 6 to 8 pounds, just a little more than that, in corn per head per day. And then they're getting that 1.5 pounds of the protein supplement.
So do you mix the supplement in with the corn? Is that how you do it?
I top dress it.
Gotcha.
So I dump my corn in my bunk, and then I put that on top.
Gotcha.
Yeah, feeding them the whole shell corn is completely like, some people are like, oh, you can't. Like, no, you absolutely can. It's not as digestible.
Yeah.
And you can't just take steers out of pasture and just start feeding them corn. You slowly build them up to it. And we do. I fed them hay for probably more like the first 3 weeks, because I was feeding them rolls of hay. And so I put another roll in there, and it took them to about the 3-week mark to finish up the last one. But anyway, and that's all they eat. And then mine, within the next week or so, they'll be on none of the starter feed. It'll just be the corn and protein supplement. But
That's amazing how quick they put on weight. Like these
do.
out here, I've been feeding them. I feed them twice a day, and like I said, I'm giving them probably close to 20 pounds at a time.
Yeah, 3-4 pounds a day is doable.
Well, that red one, he is a fat bastard, man.
You don't want to push them. Like I run into this problem, and inevitably it happens to me every year. You know, they're eating all their feed. So I just keep giving them a little more corn. And finally, one day you'll go down there to feed them, and they didn't eat all their feed. It looks like they barely touched their feed. You fed them the morning or the night before.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, you know, you done
overfed.
Sometimes they'll get real sore on their front feet. They'll have laminitis
because they're so fat.
Well, it's the way, you know, when they overeat and the sugar content and the way it, you know, in a horse you call it foundering, and it's similar in a steer, and it's okay if they get a little sore on their feet for a day or two, but you don't want them getting in bad shape.
Staying that way.
So one, you don't want them to be hurting, and two, you don't want them to have mobility issues. So you got to be, you don't want to be too aggressive with it. You want them cleaning it up. You want them.
Yeah.
When you come back down there to dump feed out, you want them there waiting like, yeah, buddy. But it's a kind of a fine line. You want them eating as much as they can handle without eating too much.
Yeah.
Because, you want them to gain weight. You want them to get fat.
Yeah.
Corn-fed beef.
Well, that red one, man, out here, he's fat. I mean, that's what I told him today. I said, boy, you're a fat bastard. Well,
if your other one doesn't get his home, I've got an extra kill date.
Okay.
Based on the ones that I've got.
I need to talk to the guy and see. I need to actually do it. I've
got 7 on feed and I got 8 kill dates. So.
Okay. I would like to get rid of him pretty quick if that guy's going to buy him, so that I'm not, because I mean, obviously, I'm fattening him up, but I'm putting a lot in feed.
If he's wanting to use him for a breeding bull, he doesn't want him fed like that long term anyway.
Yeah. I need to ask him. There was one other thing I was going to say on that. Oh crap! I can't remember. Oh no, it is funny. I noticed, you know, as they get fatter, they act like a fat person. Did you see where my bull fell over? We had to grab his leg.
Yeah.
He's when we put a new roll of hay out, because I keep hay out there and then I feed them twice a day. But when we put the roll of hay out there, my black bull, he always beats the hell out of the roll of hay. He while you're in the tractor, he's going up to it and he is just, man, he's wearing it out while you're driving the tractor. I need to video him just do it. And because I told Brock, he was out there with us, and I said, watch Mo. That's what I call my black one. I said, watch Mo right here. I said, he's about to beat the shit out of this hay bale. And I was holding the gate because I told Dad had gotten on the tractor, and so I said, I'll hold the gate. And when he came in there, man, Mo, I mean, he can't wait. As soon as the hay bale gets in there, it's on the tractor. Dad's driving the tractor. He is just beating the shit out of it. And so Dad put it down and he backed out of the way. Well, Mo goes over there, and the remains of the old bale, he's going to show it who's boss. And he's got his head in there and he's slinging it around. And he just stepped off of it. And he just, his legs went straight out and he just fell over on his side. And he would try to wobble up on his side, and Dad goes, he said, you're going to have to flip him back over. He said, he'll lay there and die. He said, we've lost probably 25 cows.
Well, if they fall and their feet are pointed uphill,
yep.
And in that case, his feet were just pointed up towards where that mound of hay was.
Yep.
Yeah, they're like a turtle on their back.
Oh, yeah. And his back legs were just straight out. I mean, they couldn't be any straighter. That's what I had to grab it, and I gave him just enough of a slingshot that he was able to bounce back up. But
it's crazy. I had one of my favorite heifers, the best heifer I kept one year. She was getting close to calving, within probably a month or two. Is one morning I went out there to check them, and it happened to be, it was a day that I had off. So I was out there really checking them closer than I even otherwise normally would. And that's the other thing. I think I'd fed them before daylight that morning. She came up the feed bump. So I know she couldn't have been there more than an hour or two.
Yeah.
She got her feet uphill from her, and got over on her side, and they start to bloat. She couldn't have been dead more than just a few minutes before I found her. It was dead.
Yeah, they can't breathe.
Yeah, well, they start to bloat. Yeah, and they just, oh man, it's just, It's like, damn, like young, healthy
Yeah.
heifer. Like, yeah, it just freak things.
Yeah. People probably don't know that happens. But yeah, they do. They're like a turtle on their back.
You know, if they get in the wrong position, I mean, it has to happen just right. It's not like it happens all the time, but it happens.
Curly probably would have started beating the shit out of him and got him back up.
Like, right. You know, you think like, you know, would he have actually died? You know, maybe not, but yeah.
Curly probably would have tried to rape him and gotten him up, because that's what Curly always is trying to do.
Mount him.
Yeah. Is it are you up? I don't remember who did last week.
As far as who our company is?
Yeah.
We start off with 2 words. Made in America.
I'll do this one. I got this one.
So if you got a good one, I've got some on my list, but.
Well, this is a change. This is going to be a different one.
All
right. So it's actually really interesting. And this one might be cheating the system a little bit. But on Living Fully Loaded, I just dropped the episode with Mark Maggiore.
Yeah.
Mark is a French guy. He's from France, but he moved to the United States.
He's a Frenchman from France.
He's a Frenchman from France. That's right. Yes. Is that what? Yeah. Well, he's born in France, but all his life he wanted to be an American, and so he is an American now. He lives here, moved here, and I can't remember what he said. 20.
Does he live in Arizona?
California.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in L.A., I guess, because that's where we were on L.A. time.
But that's not the U.S.
Yeah, that's like a different country. But,
yeah.
He is who I'm going to say, because December 10th and 11th, he's got a drop coming out on his prints.
He does, but damn it, I don't want to tell anybody about it.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. Well, and that's, I mean, like, what's more, like, his paintings are like the most American paintings on the planet.
Right. So if you're not familiar with him, pretty much all his art is like the American West.
Yes.
Like old cowboys, Western, like, I don't know that I mean, I'm sure he's drawn other things at some point in his life. But,
yeah.
That's pretty much all, like, his commercially available art is all.
It's pretty wild. Like, you know, this.
And it's incredible. Like, some of them you literally think it's a photo.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
yeah.
Oh my God, that's a drawing.
Yeah. Like this one right here, for anybody wondering, that one is called, he's got a giveaway going on with that one in particular.
But they haven't released which drawing is going to be in this print drop, have they?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. All right. So the painting is called In the Middle Runs a River. And we talked about it on the podcast. So the background, he actually goes around and he takes pictures, and then he like recreates a lot of it when he paints them.
Yeah.
Like, he had taken the pictures of that background, and then he has guys come that are cowboys, and then he'll take pictures of them for inspiration. But so he said this was actually 2 different areas. Like, he had this picture right here.
And that's obviously the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of y'all can't see that, but
yeah, I don't even think. Yeah, I can't even hardly show you on my phone here. But then this other guy, like this grass and the dude here were at a totally different area. But like in his mind, he was like going through the picture, and he's like, that would look good with that, and so he painted it together. Oh yeah, I mean like if I showed somebody, like if I just showed you that, you would almost just think, oh, that's a picture of a dude at the Grand Canyon, But no,
extremely talented. Very, like, if you're into, you know, the Western art, like,
if you're a man,
yeah.
I mean, it's like the manly art right there.
And so, but you can't just like go and buy his prints. Like, you can't.
I don't know if he has any. I think they sell out.
Right. So he like they're dropping prints. What is it?
December 10th and 11th.
So I guess Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
This coming weekend. So you better listen to this episode.
You better be on time. Which, hey, I got to give a shout out to our audience. We have a pretty dedicated audience. Like they listen pretty darn. They're on cue pretty darn well. Yeah. No, I guess you can't. You got to buy him when he does his drops.
Yeah, because I followed him for a while as well. And,
yeah.
Yeah. You can't just decide, oh, I want to buy some of his art and you know, go online and buy it. Like, you have.
They have revealed what's going to be dropping. See, that one's freaking awesome. After a Summer Rain, that one looks freaking cool.
I'll have to check it out because.
Yeah, they got a bunch of drops coming. and there's in the middle runs a river. So yeah, like I said, December 10th and 11th, you're looking at now. I mean, if you're listening and you're a gangster, you can buy the originals. Now you're going to pay.
But to even do that, you got to go to like one of his shows, right?
I don't know. Well, yeah, probably. But see here, you can buy the canvas of the crossing for $620.
Oh,
So if you want to,
it's not as much as I thought it might.
no,
That's not the original though.
No. I mean the original. Shit, I'd be scared to know what an original would cost.
Yeah.
I mean, they're paintings like you're still like this one that looks really cool here. You're talking $140 for this one. There's one for $80. There's another one for $50. But they're really cool. Like I said, the dude, he loves America. He's moved here from France. He actually, he started painting when he was like 30 years old, which was the craziest thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
Because he's a master at his craft. So Mark Maggiore, it's Maggiori, markmaggiore.com. And like I said, yeah, this weekend he has the drop, and I would definitely encourage you to check it out. I'm going to try to check it out and nab something. So maybe y'all might be watching an episode soon and see some cool Western backdrop on the background here. So, and we didn't do our thing either. We didn't play our master.
Oh, we did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was looking when you played it.
Yeah. The fearless leader spoke.
Okay, I was going to say, man, did we do it? All right, guys. Like I said, appreciate you for tuning in. Please leave us a rating and a review, and let us know about the Farm or Die shirts. We want to know if you guys like that. If you do, we will. I mean, when I say we will get this rolling, I mean like within probably the next 2 weeks we'll have shirts. So let us know if you like that idea. You want hats, whatever, reach out to us. Send us any questions you have, any topics you'd like for us to cover. I mean, literally anything if you want to hear us talk about it. And you can do that at talkdirtpodcast.com. You can reach out to either one of us on Instagram.
Yeah, or if you hate it and you got a better idea, tell us.
Yes,
we're
please.
open.
Please do. And hit the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends. And that's all I got.
Yeah, we'll talk to y'all next week.
Take care.